Welcome to the first episode. Today we are recapping Season 1, Episode 1 of the very first installment in the Degrassi series. Okay, so that's kind of a lie. The very first installment of the Degrassi series was The Kids of Degrassi Street, which premiered in 1979. However, that series had absolutely nothing to do with the succeeding series, Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High, and so on. It's also super hard to find a free version of The Kids of Degrassi Street online, so as of right now, there will be no kids on my Degrassi Street. So without wasting any more time, let's get into Season 1, Episode 1 of Degrassi Junior High, entitled Kiss Me, Steph. We begin this episode on a cool fall morning in September of 1987. I'm kidding, I'm not going to talk like that. All the kids are returning to school from summer vacation, and in these first few seconds of the episode, we meet our very first main character, Stephanie K. She's portrayed by Nicole Stoffman, former actress and current Toronto jazz singer. And while we're meeting her, we hear this off-screen kind of a Steph! And then we see her brother Arthur kind of just pop up out of nowhere. Arthur Kowalski, Stephanie's younger brother, is portrayed by Duncan Waugh. And other than appearing in a TV show called TNT, starring actor and professional wrestler Mr. T, Waugh has not had any other acting roles other than his appearances on Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High. And the second this kid appears on screen, we can already see that Steph is just so annoyed with his presence. Like, he tries to have a conversation with her in front of the school, and immediately she shuts that shit down. She says, "Now listen, Arthur. You are not to speak to me when we enter this building. On these school grounds, we are not siblings. We do not know each other." And I feel like that's the typical conversation you have with your younger sibling when you go to the same school. Like, as an upperclassman, you're the cool kid now. And cool, important grade 8s wouldn't be caught dead talking to uncool and embarrassing grade 7s. I personally never went to the same school as my siblings because we have such a large age gap. Like, my sister, I'm like 5 years older than her. My brother, I'm 9 years older than her. I'm not 9 years older than him, sorry. And I just never went to the same school as them. So I personally have never experienced the do not talk to me, I don't know you, you don't know me. But, you know, I don't think I would do that either. My siblings are kind of cool. And I was never like the cool kid anyway. So me having a younger sibling wouldn't really matter to people. So in Steph's mean little speech to her brother, because she is kind of being really mean, she lets him know not to refer to her as a Kowalski, which is their family last name, since their parents are divorced and she wants nothing to do with that name and their father. She says, her last name is K. My name is Stephanie K. And that since her mom can change her last name, so can she. So we already know that Arthur lives with their father and Steph lives with their mother, and there's some kind of drama between the parents. Drama as in like divorce, you know, which is pretty serious. Don't want to make light of divorce. So pretty early on in the series, we're already having discussions about separated parents or divorced parents and how these kids deal with that themselves. I mean, even something as simple as a name, Stephanie chose to change her name to her mother's because she favors her. And I think that's okay. I mean, it's your name. Do what you want with it. And if you really feel that strongly about something, then do something about it. It applies to anything you do. So I think it's funny that when Steph is walking into the doors of Degrassi Junior High, she takes one last look at Arthur, and I don't know if this is a look of, don't worry, you're still my brother, I still care for you, or if it's like a, is this bitch still following me kind of look, you know, like a, didn't I just tell him to leave me alone? Because she, like, before she goes into the building, she like takes one last dramatic look back at him, and it's like, ooh, what is she thinking? So right after the scene, we go into the very iconic introduction song performed by Miss Wendy Watson. She is an American-Canadian actress, composer, family therapist, professor. Like she does everything, clearly. After this intro, we see a couple of familiar faces in the background. We see Spike, Snake, we see Rick and Wheels, and although they didn't all have major speaking roles, or some of them didn't have any speaking roles at all in this episode, it's still really cool to see my favorite characters walking around in the background. You know, it makes the show seem more real, because not every week does a character need to be in some drama. Like, why can't Steph just be going to class, you know, minding her business while Spike handles all the drama, and then next week Vula could be in some drama while Spike is just, you know, at the lunch table getting her life. So we continue right into the A plot, which is Stephanie running for president, and she's in the bathroom catching up with Vula, who is one of my favorite characters ever in like the original Degrassi series, but I do think that they did her a little dirty in this series, but we'll forget about that for now. I won't forget, but you know, we'll set that aside for later. It's established that Steph and Vula are best friends, and they haven't seen each other all summer, it looks like. So Steph gives her with a friendship bracelet. And let me tell you, a friendship bracelet in 8th grade has a lot of weight to it. Like, if I gifted you with a friendship bracelet in 8th grade, that means you were not allowed to leave me. Like, you are stuck in this friendship until the day we die. So Vula loves this bracelet. It's a very important part of their friendship now. And this bracelet is a very important part of the episode, you know. It symbolizes friendship. Friendship is the purest relationship, I believe, because it's simply, I want to be with that person. Like, I don't have any sexual attraction towards them. I'm not with them because of this thing that they gift me, or they're not like my family, so I'm not obligated to like them. It's just, I like your company and I would like to be around you. So that's why I always love making friends, because friendships are so pure. And there's like no catch. There's no obligation to a friendship. It's sometimes I see you, sometimes I don't. I just like hanging out with you. And as BFFs, Steph and Vula are catching up. Steph kind of starts taking off her clothes, which is a strange thing to do when you're talking to someone, but she does have clothes underneath. She takes off her long skirt and her like big poofy blouse, and it reveals some tight fit jeans and a little crop top. Now, when I say crop top, I don't mean like, oh, you can just see her belly button. I mean like, this girl just has her breasts covered, just her boobs covered, and everything else is just kind of out. But you know, everything that matters is covered. But I'm kind of here for it though. She looks really cute. Like, it's definitely not school appropriate. Like, I definitely would not say, hey daughter, you sure do look ready to go to school. Like, no, but she looks cute. I love that. Like, she was the OG hot girl. She's a bad bitch. And while she's undressing and kind of like teasing her hair up, you know, like getting all pretty, Vula is not feeling this unexpected new look from Steph. She's like, girl, what are you doing? Where did this come from? This is not 7th grade Steph. And Steph is like, no, honey, this is 8th grade Steph. You know, she said, oh, you know what she says there? She's like, I'm more mature now. Like, bitch. I guess according to a 13-year-old girl, the more mature you are, the less clothing you wear. And I definitely remember being in middle school and seeing like these girls starting to wear more revealing clothing, starting to like, oh, maybe I'll wear a crop top today, or maybe I'll wear some short shorts today. And you know what? It's because they thought they looked good. And they did look good. Like, you're fucking killing it, girl. You're confident in your body and you want to dress the way you want to dress, because if you're not waking up in the mirror and if you're not waking up and looking in the mirror every day and saying, I look hot as fuck, then what are you doing? Like, I definitely wouldn't be confident enough to dress like that when I was 13, but Steph isn't me. Steph is Steph. And here we have a young girl who loves the way she looks, and she's embracing the way she looks through her clothing. And so I applaud her for that. Like, I don't think she's dressing easy or dressing to get male attention. I mean, okay, I do think she is dressing to get male attention, but I also think she's dressing in a way that makes her feel good. And if that's rooted in male attention, so what? She's 13. She wants boys to think she's pretty. But eventually, you start dressing for you. Like, especially when you get into a relationship and you're like, this person likes me even when I look like shit. So, how about when I look nice, I just say I'm looking nice for myself? Because that's the case. Yes, on the PA system, when they're in the bathroom having their little combo, we hear that it is the time of the year when the school is searching for a brand new class president. And something funny, the announcement starts with, hey guys, or like, hey boys, or looking for a class president. And Steph is not having any of that. She is so off put by the fact that only the boys of Degrassi were encouraged to run. So she decides to run for president. And I think that's a good idea. I mean, I always think it's a good idea for women in power. You know, girls have good ideas too. Why should it only be a boys' club? And she's also pretty popular, so she thinks that it won't be that hard to get a lot of votes. I mean, I would vote for Steph. Solely based on her outfit, honestly. I think she looks good. She looks so cute. So after it is revealed that Steph wants to run for president, like she's super serious about this, we enter our B plot where we find Arthur, Steph's little brother, struggling to find his homeroom with Miss Avery. He goes to a faculty member named Doris. Doris is the secretary. She is a queen. But as he's like explaining, like, I don't know where the homeroom is. I'm so lost. Doris, help me. In walks Degrassi heartthrob, Joey Jeremiah. Yes, Joey Jeremiah makes his first appearance on Degrassi Junior High right here, right now. And oh my god, I got so excited when I saw him. He's just such a lovable character. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. Not even in the original series, just of all time. Like, he's a troublemaker, he's funny, and his arc is just amazing. From junior high to the next generation, like, his character just keeps growing, and I love that for him. It's amazing. Now, so he's portrayed by Pat Mastroianni, and yes, he went on to star in the other Degrassi installments. But here's the part I was, having a little giggle about. So I was scrolling through his IMDb page when I came across a little gem. Some fabulous news I would like to share, and yes, fabulous is the word indeed, because Mr. Pat Mastroianni went on, after, starring in the Degrassi franchise, he went on to star in the 2011 Disney Channel original movie, Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure. Yes, the sequel to the High School Musical franchise. Now, I love this movie. This movie is very near and dear to my heart. I'm gonna shine and all that business. But to see Joey Jeremiah go from lovable class clown, troublemaker, to car salesman, to canine casting director for Broadway musicals is very funny to me. I think it's just funny to me. Hopefully it's funny to other people. But to me, I was cackling for a full minute when I was like, wait. When I saw like his credit for being in the movie, because I was like, not Degrassi. I was like, Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure. What the fuck? And then I go to Disney Plus and I start watching it and I'm like, what the? Why is he here? Go to Canada. What are you doing? Why are you in Albuquerque? So anyway, Joey offers to help Arthur find his class, and we can already tell that he is super popular. Like, when he's walking down the hallway, everyone's high-fiving him, everyone's greeting him. And then we meet this guy named Hank, who, I don't know if he's in any other episodes after this, because I do not recognize him one bit. Like, I don't recognize him at all. So Joey and this mysterious Hank character, a little sauce, they lock Arthur in a closet and we become one step closer to the most iconic phrase, name in Degrassi history? I don't know. Nickname, term of not, what is the opposite of a term of endearment? Like a term of hate? Term of detestment? I don't know. Unendearment, I'm gonna say. Unendearment. Yeah, so Arthur Kowalski gets locked in a broom closet, and following this altercation, we enter 8th grade homeroom, where we can see some of the main characters that we meet in later episodes. We see LD, who she plays a little part in this episode. I don't recall if she has any speaking lines, but her facial expressions are definitely in this episode. And girl, she was getting on my nerves too. She didn't say any words, but she was still getting on my nerves. And we also see Spike. Again, another character who did not speak in this episode, but she has some screen time. Like the camera, she found her camera. We also see, little fun fact. I don't know. I think it's called a goof. I remember when I used to read, I used to go on the wiki for Disney Channel shows when I was like 9, and whenever they would make a mistake in the episode, like there was a plot hole or like an inconsistency, they would call it a goof. And I love reading the goofs. I guess our first Degrassi goof. We see a future Degrassi main character, Liz. She's an extra for the entire first season, but in the second season she portrays a troubled transfer student who is new to Degrassi. So it's really cool to see that they had all these kids just around, all these actors, all these little actor kitties just around, and if they wanted to tell a particular story that week but it didn't quite match up with the main cast they had already, they could just pick one kid and go, hey, you got a storyline now. You're gonna start getting checks now. What else happens in this episode? I'm like pretending that I'm remembering everything that happens, but oh no, I have a full page of notes here. So let's go to the 7th grade homeroom. Keep in mind that Arthur is still stuck in a broom closet. And clearly no one has heard the struggles of this poor boy just trying to get to class. It isn't until Yik, played by Siluk Sanasi, I'm assuming, rescues him, and from then on, a beautiful friendship forms between the two. Interesting about Siluk, like a lot of other Degrassi actors and actresses, Siluk was still a huge part of the show even after he appeared in the episodes. During Degrassi The Next Generation, I believe, not Next Class, but The Next Generation, he worked as the children's coordinator on set. So I'm assuming he was responsible for motivating the kids and keeping their day-to-day activities pretty organized. I mean, who else would be qualified to monitor Degrassi kids other than a Degrassi kid or a former Degrassi kid? So I just think that's really cool. Like, a lot of the people involved with Degrassi went on to continue to be involved with it, like Stephen, who plays Snake, Archibald. He not only went on to do behind the scenes work, such as like directing and producing episodes, but he was also still in the show. He went on to be like a teacher and then like the principal, and he's been on the show since day one. So because I forgot to talk about Mr. Radich. I'll circle back to him, but yeah, Degrassi really knows how to trap their staff. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a trap. I feel like they genuinely wanted to be there. Degrassi seems like a family behind the scenes. So Yik, he helps Arthur out of the closet, and they decide to look for Mrs. Avery's class by themselves. Already super late, like the bell already rang. Points already been deducted. We meet Miss Avery. We meet her for the first time, our favorite 7th grade teacher. My favorite thing about her is her long hair. It is so pretty. She is portrayed by Michelle Good-Eve and is a First Nations member. Don't want to mess that up. Later in the series, throughout the series, she makes references to Native peoples, and that's why, she's referencing herself or her people. And after her appearances in Degrassi Junior High, she didn't actually go on to appear in Degrassi High. Instead, she went on to become a screenwriter and continue her career as a pilot. Yes, like on the reg, she just flies antique aircrafts around, and I think that's pretty fun. We love a well-rounded woman. And yes, I did forget to talk about Raditch, so I want to circle back to him. So back in 8th grade homeroom, we do meet Mr. Raditch. He was the voice we heard on the PA earlier for the announcement for class president. And he is portrayed by Dan Woods, who was a staff member at Degrassi, and he will be a staff member at Degrassi for a long time. He doesn't leave until like season 4 of The Next Generation, which was in like 2004. So and here he is like as a teacher in 1987. So I mean, I feel like that's how long teachers and like faculty members are in a school in real life. You're kind of just there for a while, but to be on a show for that long, that's, oh my god, that's insane. These Degrassi people, they can't leave. They're stuck. Yeah, so during our 8th grade homeroom, Steph and Vula are discussing their campaign, and Vula even offers to be the executive assistant. And immediately we see all the posters going up that say Stephanie K for president. And about these posters being put up, it's a pretty big deal because these girls haven't been encouraged in the past to run for president. I'm assuming since the announcement was addressed to the boys of Degrassi. So it's a really big deal that Steph is kind of breaking these gender roles and just putting her foot out there, putting it out there. And a girl who dresses however she wants. It may not be the typical like long skirt, big blouse, but a girl who's confident in showing off her body, but she's also got the brains to be a president. I think that's really cool. I mean, she don't actually got the brains to be a president, we find out, but it's a nice look. It's a nice look, beauty and brains. We can have both. Notice that Vula is the one putting up these posters, not Stephanie K. So that is kind of the first we see into Vula really being the only one who is putting any effort into this campaign. Like at no point do we see any cuts to Steph like helping or doing anything. The only thing Steph does is read all of the promises that Vula wrote for the campaign. And yeah, that Vula wrote. Steph reads them. And as for someone who didn't contribute at all to writing these promises and writing out her speech, she has a lot of comments about Vula's idea for Steph's campaign. And Vula's actually pretty serious about the campaign. Well, Steph is kind of just in it for the attention, I feel like. I mean, originally in the episode, I feel like she was in it for the sake of, breaking gender roles and being a powerful person at the school. And yes, being popular, but, being president is pretty cool. She wants to make a name for herself. And I think when Joey started coming up to her and complimenting her on her outfit, and when she started getting all this male attention, it really turned into kind of, I just want boys to like me. I just want boys to notice me. So she's definitely in it for receiving a lot of attention from the boys at Degrassi. And we see later in the day, Steph is on the steps of the school regurgitating the speech that Vula wrote for her. These are the same steps we saw in the beginning of the episode. And Steph is really stumbling over her words. And it's not because she's nervous. No. It's because she didn't write the speech herself and she's trying to remember what Vula wrote for her. Like, you even see Vula like mouthing the words along because Steph don't know what she's talking about. Like, not only did she not write her own speech, she also didn't bother to memorize it before she said it. So I can't with her right now. I love Steph, but this episode I was really annoyed with her. And it cuts to LD at some points during her speech, and you can see that she is not having it. Like, she looks so like angry at Steph. She's like, how dare she like use her looks to get all these votes from the majority? Because Steph's goal, like, she even said, like, if I get the entire boy vote and everyone and all the girls divide their votes among everyone else, she's still going to get the majority vote. Like, Steph is going to get the majority vote no matter what. So I guess LD and all the other people running for president feel that it's a little unfair that Steph gets to use her body, and I'm using quotation marks because Steph is just using what she got, okay? And if that's an advantage for her, then that's an advantage for her, you know? Leave her alone. And after her speech, Joey, you know, the charming young man he is, he goes up to congratulate Stephanie K in the most disgusting way I have ever seen in my life. He says, oh, they loved you. You're going to be amazing. I want to be your campaign manager. And Steph is like, okay, Joey. And, you know, they're flirting. They're having some laughs. It's cute. It's cute. And he grabs her hand. He kisses her wrists. He kisses her forearms. He kisses all the way up to her biceps, to her shoulders, and then starts kissing her neck. Now, when I was in middle school, ain't no one kissing necks like that. No. No one, like, that was really smooth for like a 13-year-old. And obviously it was written by adults, but that's like, no one in middle school is that fucking smooth. Like, if this was an actual 13-year-old kid, he would have like stumbled. He would have been way too nervous to even kiss her on the hand, let alone the neck. And Steph was like living. She was like here for it. She was like, oh my god, Joey's like kissing me on my neck. Like, girl, she was having the time of her life. And I wasn't mad at it. And after all the boys see this exchange, we'll call it, between Stephanie and Joey, they all start coming up to her saying shit like, I'll vote for you if I can get a kiss. And like, all these young men, we have Shane, we have like Wheels, they all start coming up and surrounding this girl like a sea of testosterone. It's just like left and right, just stealing kisses. And Wheels, his 13-year-old ass, has the audacity to go up and give Steph a little kiss on her cheek and then look down her shirt to look at her boobs. It's disgusting. Boys are so gross. And like Steph, though, she's kind of enjoying it. Like, you can see her smiling, you can see her missing tooth. Her iconic missing tooth. And Vula, she just looks so disappointed in Steph. She's like, this is not what this campaign is about. And of course, LD looks disgusted, you know, 'cause she can't mind her business. We don't like LD. You my homies hate LD. And oh my god, y'all, I was so concerned before saying how Degrassi did Vula dirty when I did the same thing by forgetting to even mention that the actress that plays her and like everything about her, like I did with the other ones. Life imitates art, I guess. So Vula, our educated and level-headed queen, was portrayed by Nikki Kameny, who only starred in the first season of Degrassi Junior High before she left to pursue other projects. Her agent was like, girl, Degrassi is not the big leagues. It's child's play. We're gonna put you in Hollywood. That didn't happen. So after that didn't work out, Kameny went back to her performing arts school, you know, to study up. And eventually this girl joins the circus. And she spent about 10 years traveling with not just a circus, but Cirque du Soleil. And she still works there now. She just doesn't travel anymore. I believe she like is a special events coordinator, special effects, special events. I don't remember which one. So after Steph gets attacked by a bunch of boy lips, the adventures of Arthur and Yik continue. Yik is like carrying around this map of the school, and him and Arthur have like walkie-talkies communicating with each other, trying to sneak around the school, not get caught by Joey, since he did kind of shove Arthur into a broom closet. You know, that's kind of bullying. A pretty traumatic first day of school, I think. If somebody shoved me into a broom closet my first day of school, I would be like stalking the halls, like trying to avoid them at all costs. I'd probably become a ninja, trying to avoid them. So when Arthur is sneaking around, he comes across this rally in the hallway for Steph, and all you can hear is, I think this is what I heard. I hope it's not what they were saying, but I do believe this is what I heard. I heard all the way Stephanie K, which I cannot fucking deal. It's so nasty. Like, this is a 13-year-old girl. She's not going all the way. And if she is, it's not with every single boy in Degrassi. Jesus. So Vula finally confronts Steph when they're in the bathroom, and she says kissing is not what we're running for. Like, we want actual change. And Steph is like not trying to hear it. She's like, Vula, I'm just giving the boys what they want. I'm just trying to secure these votes. And then Steph kind of gaslights Vula. Like, low key, she's like, Vula, we're a team. This is what we both want. We both know your ideas aren't working. And Steph, she starts coming up with these insane promises, like rock and roll on the PA, co-ed swimming, where the girls, like, they have to wear bikinis. It's mandatory. And all the boys are like, I want to see Steph in a bikini. And, ooh, what about without a bikini? And it's pure disgust that I have right now. These boys are so nasty. I can't with this episode. This is a gross first episode, but it's so good. It's just so gross, too. And now all the boys are kind of like gathering around her saying, take it up, take it up. And like, as in her crop top, which, again, as I addressed, is barely a shirt. And we see her face like turn sour. She doesn't really like all these guys in her face. She'd much rather be admired from afar, appreciated from a distance. And I fuck with that. Like, you can look, but you can't touch. And after she is finished being trampled or stampeded by all these men, she is like, back up, I want to thank a very special person who has been there for me from the very beginning. And then we all think it's going to be Vula, because Vula was the one writing the speeches, hanging up the posters, doing the damn thing. And then Steph, she turns to Joey and she's like, thank you, Joey, for supporting me this entire campaign. And Vula is like, girl, what? She feels betrayed and she just runs out of the room. Like, and you see Steph look after her, and you can tell that Steph knows she fucked up by not thanking her. Like, this gives me really very much Malcolm and Marie vibes. Like, I know Malcolm and Marie came out like this year, and Degrassi Junior High came out in 1987, but just the situation of, you didn't thank me when I basically made your project. Like, I was a huge part of your project and you couldn't even thank me. That's the kind of thing I'm like shooting for. So after this, everyone starts voting, and Steph, you know, she makes sure that she's sitting there to make sure all the boys are voting for her. And then the results are in, and of course Stephanie wins. You know, she's got the entire boy vote. Like, of course, even if the school, I assume, is like 50-50 male female, so obviously she was gonna get the vote. I mean, come on. And it's very interesting. I guess the lesson for this episode, they really kind of shove it in your face. On the PA system, it says, it doesn't matter who wins or loses. It matters how you play the game. And we can see Vula look at Steph during this announcement during their class. Like, she knows that Steph is going to win, but she didn't play the game fairly. Like, kissing for votes and selling sex is not how you secure a presidency. And Vula believes a president should play by the rules. Vula believes a president should be serious about her job, not just, you know, wanted to be president for the attention. So I guess that is what we're highlighting in this episode. Make sure you play the game fairly. We also get a brand new vice president, Susie. Not really much of a presence in this episode. She kind of just comes up and bombards Steph with all these ideas. Like she's like, "Oh, I think we should do this, and I think we should do this for our first meeting, and this and this and this." And Steph is like, "Girl, I got plans after school. I do not want to talk to you. Like I kind of just want to hang out with Joey." And during this conversation, you can see Joey like flirting with Steph through the glass. It is so nasty. He's like kissing all up on the glass. It's gross. And already we can see that Steph isn't taking this presidency seriously. All she wanted was just attention. I mean, at first, she seemed like she wanted to be a good president, but as kind of the work starts piling in and she starts realizing how much you actually have to do, she's like, I don't want it anymore. Yeah, so Steph, she goes to the main office to talk to Doris, Queen Doris. And Doris, the secretary, she's like, hey, how's the speech going along for the PTA meeting? And Steph is like, what? Clearly, she's already overwhelmed with this presidency. Like, she hasn't even been president for a full 2 minutes and she's already got speeches, she's already got meetings, obligations. Girl is unprepared. Like, once again, she didn't want the responsibility. She only wanted the attention, the power, the ability to make a name for herself and stand out in the school. And at the same time, we once again see Arthur being bullied by Joey. Unfortunately, Joey is such a bully in this first season, but then I swear he turns into a very good person and such a lovable character. I feel like that's the best arc ever. It's like the bully who's not like an actual asshole, but like, you know, because Joey's not an asshole. He just shoved someone in a locker. That's not that bad. It's not like he shoved them in a locker and then punched him in the face. So yes, Arthur is being stuffed into a locker by Joey and Hank. Hank completely disappears after this episode. I don't know where he goes. Maybe he doesn't disappear and I'm just forgetting, but I watched this series 5 times and I don't remember who Hank is, so he obviously wasn't that important. And Steph sees her little brother getting shoved in a locker and she's like, y'all, what are you doing? Don't do that. And Joey, he's a little sauce. He's like, Steph, why are you standing up for this random grade 7? No, he's like, no, he actually says, like, Steph, what do you know this broomhead? Why are you standing up for him? And that is the very first time we hear the word broomhead. Yes, Arthur is Degrassi's very first broomhead. And I think he's the only broomhead. No, there's one more. There's one more broomhead, I believe. But yeah, King Broomhead. And Steph is still refusing to admit that Arthur is her brother. She's like, I don't know who he is, but just leave him alone, okay? He's not worth it. And while she's kind of distracting these boys, oh no, I'm getting ahead of myself. So she says that she's on her way to find Vula because, you know, she needs a speech written for her, and Stephanie's dumbass can't do that. So yes, the writing a speech to open the PTA meeting has been a Degrassi tradition, and apparently the girl running for president didn't know about a Degrassi tradition, so like one of the main ones you have to do. And Joey, you know, he wears a lot of hats, especially fedoras. He is not only her unofficial campaign manager, is not only president of her fan club, but he is now offering to write speeches for her. And Steph can already tell that Joey is pretty shitty at writing speeches since he starts it with, hello, ladies and germs. So yeah, not a linguist. Our boy is not a linguist, but we love him nonetheless. And while the boys are distracted, drooling and absolutely simping for Steph, she helps Arthur escape, which shows the sweeter side of the relationship. It's like no matter what, you're still my little brother and I'll always protect you when you're being bullied by the boy that I want to kiss. Steph eventually catches up with Vula and she's like, Vula is like, girl, you used me. I did all the work. I wrote the speech. I hung up the posters and you didn't even thank me. You thanked Joey. And in this time, Vula essentially breaks up with Steph, and friendship breakups are so hard. Friendship breakups are way more painful than like romantic breakups, I feel. I don't know, because the way I talked about how friendships are so pure, to like not want that relationship anymore, it hurts. Like, you can break up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend for so many reasons, like, oh, the sex is bad, they cheated on you, they're not contributing to the household or whatever. But like, a friendship breakup is just like, I don't want to be in your presence anymore. Like, this relationship that we've had, it no longer makes me happy. And that just hurts. That just hurts. I don't know. So she throws the bracelet on the floor, the bracelet that Steph gave to her in the beginning of the episode. And Vula says, listen, I don't care that you wanted to make some boy feel good about himself. You didn't have to thank Joey to make him like you when you could have thanked me because I already liked you. I was your best friend. And I completely agree with Vula. Like, what Stephanie did was fucked up. She didn't take their shared project together seriously. Like, this was supposed to be for the two of them as assistant manager and president, and Steph completely threw that away because of Joey. Like, it's not like Joey was like, throw away your presidency. Like, she could have said no and was like, Vula is smarter, Vula is my best friend, I'm gonna stick with Vula. No, she chose to go to the dark side. At the end of the day, Steph puts back on her big clothes, her like big skirt and her giant blouse, which, looking at her outfit that she wore throughout the day and looking at that outfit she's going home in, the outfit is so ugly. Like, I don't know why people wear so many giant ass clothes when you can just dress like Steph and be super cute. She brushes her hair back down so she can look like, you know, the nice, presentable daughter again when she goes back home. And while she's looking in the mirror, like, it's a very serious scene. She's staring at herself. And while she's like brushing her hair back down and taking off her makeup, she says, I'm going to be the best president this school's ever had. I'm going to deliver a good speech. But then she realizes that she has no one left to help her with this speech because Joey's dumb. Okay. And Vula doesn't want to, she wants nothing to do with her anymore. Vula is not her friend. And Steph vows that despite the journey that it took to get to president, she still wants to be a good president. I guess not only for the male attention anymore, because she realized that that isn't going to take her anywhere. She wants to be a good president to show Vula that she can take things seriously. Also, I just want to know where Steph gets all this, like, all these outfits, because this girl is 13. I don't think she has a job. Her mom certainly isn't buying these things for her, because why would she be covering up again to go home? So I just want to know where she's getting these clothes, because she needs to put me on. So Arthur and Steph meet back up at the front of the school, like in the beginning of the episode. And I don't know if this is called like a parallel or a juxtaposition or neither, but the way they were having a heated discussion, at least on Stephanie's side, she was kind of yelling at him. Arthur was just taking it. They had that heated discussion in the beginning of the episode, and now at the end of the episode, they're standing in the same place having a sweet conversation. I just think that's really cool. It shows how much can happen in a day. So Arthur goes to her. He's like, thank you for saving me. He starts talking to her, but Steph, she's not listening. She's still kind of in her feelings about the presidency and about Vula. She's still sad that she has to write a speech knowing her dumbass can't write. Like, why did I say dumbass like that? Her dumbass. Anyway, Steph is stupid, I guess, is what we've established. She doesn't know how to educate and take in information. I'm like short-circuiting right now. I don't know what's going on. And Arthur offers to help her. He's like, I'll write the speech for you. I'll help you write it. And at first she's like, you would understand, Arthur. This is a grade 8 problem. So again, she's still like pushing him away. She doesn't know how to accept help from the only person left, essentially, who is willing to be around her. And as Arthur kind of just walks away, he's like, whatever. She realizes that when she thought she had no one else in the world at all, she has her brother right here by her side to help her finish the speech. So she does have someone on her side. She has a brother, despite refusing to acknowledge him while they're in school. And the cutest thing, she even yells out, "Arthur, I need you." And after that, we have our very first Degrassi Junior High freeze frame of Steph smiling at Arthur. She's basically saying, "We're still siblings, and I love you, and I accept you." And wow, that was a great first episode. It introduced the characters pretty well. It avoided the typical, like, this is Steph, the whore. I don't, jeez. This is Joey, the bully. Like, this episode was only 23 minutes long, barely. And you can already tell that these characters have a lot of layers. Like, a lot happened in this episode. They felt like real people, and that's a huge reason why I love Degrassi. I feel like I'm growing up right alongside these kids, and these are problems that you can still face no matter what, even if you were like tuning in the 80s while the show was on, or right now in 2021 watching it with me. Like, being a female president is still a pretty big deal. Like, we in America, we just got our first female vice president, and that's a pretty big deal. Best friends falling out will always be relevant, and succumbing to male attention instead of being confident in who you are and expressing who you truly are will always be a problem, unfortunately, especially for young girls. I can definitely find myself relating a lot to Vula in this episode. I was the shy, like, nerdy kid who didn't have all the cute clothes, while my best friend at the time, she was the pretty popular girl with all, like, the cute, like, clothes, the crop tops, the tight jeans, and she looked really good in her outfits. But I ended up having to cut ties with her, just like Vula. So I'm, like, really good at cutting people off. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm good at it. So, but yeah, I can definitely relate to Vula, and I'm sad that she kind of leaves after the first season, because it's like, well, damn, the only person I related to is she's gone. I guess I kind of relate to Caitlin in a way. We'll get to Caitlin in another episode, but before I end this first episode, I am going to give a episode rating. So every episode, I will give a rating. Like I just said, this rating can be based on how entertaining the episode was, how well they handled the topic, and just whatever I want to base it on. And I honestly think this was just the perfect first episode. Like, I have barely any critiques, and I am not a film student. I don't know anything about, like, producing and acting in a TV show, so I'm pretty sure my advice wouldn't be very helpful. So for this first episode, I think I would give it 9.7 Joey Jeremiah neck kisses out of 10. A disgusting scale, I know, but it is the scale I'm going to use today. I just want more scenes with Arthur and Yick. Like, they're so fun. I love just seeing boys just running around, like, doing their own thing. Like, the actual meaning of boys will be boys. Running around schools with walkie-talkies, trying to avoid the bully. That was super fun. I just would have been fun to see a little bit more. But I understand it's a 23-minute episode, and Arthur and Yick were kind of a B-plot situation. So that's all for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like this episode and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at It's Degrassi Hun Podcast. No punctuation included. This has been me, Marie, your host. And see you next episode. Bye.